In the wee early morning hours of Monday, July 23rd, local cycling legend Bob Brooks passed away. Bob had acquired many national cycling titles and age-related time trial records, some of which may still be in effect. This was only dwarfed by the man that he was and the lives that he touched. The other day, there was a memorial ride on Bob's favorite course in his neighborhood. I grabbed my camera and started asking people about their favorite Bob Brooks stories. Please enjoy. Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. I am here with one half of the Ed, and here's the other half of the Ed and Ed team coming from Colorado for the Bob Brooks Memorial Ride. And Ed was telling me, reminding me of what happens to Bob when something goes wrong with his bike right before a race. So this was in what race?
In Park City, Utah, National Championships, a road race. And it was a little climby, but not bad. And shortly before the race, about 5 minutes, Bob got real anxious like he can because the bike wasn't shifting into the 28 cock. And I remember making a comment, Bob, don't worry about it. If you get into 28, you're not going to be in the race anyway. I can't ride a bike if it doesn't ride right. So you know how Bob is. So we'll get off and let me check it. I fussed with it, I didn't do anything. Hand the bike back to him, here, it's fine. He jumps on it, takes off, races, wins nationals. And I don't know when he figured out that it still didn't shift.
Bob was a very nice guy. He's deeply missed.
So when you first, did you ride with him often or sometimes or occasionally?
Never.
Never?
One time in '94 I saw him in the Climb to Kaiser.
Yeah, okay. You participated in that one.
And he talked to me. And that was the first time I really met him, and he was much stronger than me. And he made sure, every time I saw him, he asked me if I had enough water. He must have always thought I was out of water.
Like this, when I ride with Bob, like I was telling him, I'd be climbing, and he'd be just a little ways ahead of me. I can see him up there. But pretty soon, as we start going downhill, I pass him and leave him behind. He has trouble going downhill, but could he climb?
Yeah.
He pushed me hard up hills. Back when I met him back in, it was about 30 years ago when I met him. And he pushed me a lot, brought me back into racing more, where I was out training by myself.
So had to be in the 80s?
Well, I guess so. I guess it'd be about the 80s, yeah.
So then it was a period that you were out of cycling then, because I
was out of cycling. I had that initiative. I did because I was trained by myself,
right,
and everything. I didn't have that initiative.
Because you started as a junior.
I was looking at it, I was like, how
I thought.
I started when I was 10 years old.
10, okay. Oh, pre-junior. Okay. With racing and stuff. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I started when I raced when I was 10, but I was training when I was 5.
See, that's my problem. I started when I was like 35. So.
Go out and up the Court Right and back to Wishaw very easily between now and noontime. And so that's the intent of the ride. We're cooking hamburgers out there. I have 50-some hamburgers. When they're gone, they're gone. Anyway, thanks for coming out and enjoy the drill.
Hey guys. Hey.
Steve, what's going on?
Hey, if you really want me to ride with you, Bob Brooks story. First time I met Bob was about 11 years ago. It was on this ride, this, what is it, Court Right, Wishaw Reservoir ride, and I think Janine was with us, and that's Bob Brooks. Oh, that's Bob Brooks. So we're climbing up the steep section on over here, and so we're riding along, and I'm ahead of him. I knew it was this finally, and then he passes me up. Hey, good job, Raul. My name's Roel.
Yeah.
Raul, and he goes, oh my gosh, I heard about you, but you just passed me up the steep grade about 11 years ago. And then the last time I saw him was that Saturday before he passed on this ride.
Oh.
So yeah, that was nice that I got to see him ride up, going up Courtright while just trying to stand his wheel.
When did you first meet Bob?
It was like on Old Toll House. He passed me up, and then the thing that I remember was when he passed up Dow Vane. Remember Dow Vane?
Yes.
Dow Vane fell so bad that he just couldn't unclip and just fell over on the top.
How long ago was this?
This was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
So he was like 73 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told Dow Vane, hey, don't feel bad, man. He's a national champion.
How about
He had like a gray beard, and
Yes.
I said, man, he looks like a billy goat. But when he went by me, man, he was just like,
He rode like a billy goat. Bob Brooks stories.
Bob Brooks stories. My favorite Bob Brooks story, I'm riding with Steve Ray Kellner and Bob Brooks. We're doing, you know the name of that Springville, Porterville loop?
Yeah,
California
the Drum Valley?
Is that what it is?
I think so.
It's like maybe 110 miles or so.
That's part of it. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yokel Valley and all that. Yes.
Yeah, my first time riding with Bob, and Ray goes, hey, we're about 10 miles to go, and stay on his wheel.
This is in the 90s. You're a junior then,
Early
right?
90s, yeah, I was probably 17 years old. And yeah, me and Bob just likes to end rides fast, as I remember back then at least. And we were just on the limit the whole way. And he just coached me how to, making me get faster and faster into the end of that thing. And I just remember him just coming to that sign and goes, hey, all right, you're gonna sprint to the sign, and I'm gonna lead you out. And just one of those memories that stuck forever.
The best Bob stories are like the ones where we eat a ton of food.
Okay.
Wherever we go, because he'd eat like me. We'd eat like 2 meals. Like I'd eat like a breakfast and like omelet, and then like a steak, and then like a burger. And Bob would do the same thing. He'd eat like a ton of food. We eat junk food.
In the middle of the ride?
In the middle of a ride. He'd eat like candy bars, sodas, and then have our lunch, like burgers, and then steaks.
And these weren't slow rides either?
No, these are real rides. Like most people couldn't do that. Like they get sick and they couldn't ride anymore.
And these are like 100-mile rides, right?
Yeah. And in the middle of the ride, we just eat like a ton of food.
And you had the parking lot sprints, what we call them afterwards, you just take right off, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Right from the start, and then, and he was always very generous. He gave me all kinds of stuff, like Garmin computers, jerseys, clothes, cassettes, like bike parts and everything.
Oh, cool.
And you'd just be like, oh, you need that? Okay, here, I got it. The best story? The best story with Bob, I was with Brian. The best story I have with Bob is the first time I rode with you guys in Fresno back in 2002. And Bob introduced me to everybody at Spring Valley School. And he introduced me to you, and you just turned your back to me. You're like, oh, I'm not going to shake his hand. Yeah, because you knew, I think you knew I was like a triathlete. You're like, I'm not going to talk to a triathlete guy. And then, no respect. Yeah, no respect. Walker Powerhouse Loop.
Okay.
The first ride, 2002 November. It was like right after a winter storm, and I was just wearing like a jersey and shorts. Everybody else is all bundled up. And then Bob's the first guy to talk to me like on that ride with all the Fresno guys. The first time I met him and stuff. So that was like the best story probably. The first time I met Bob.
Cool.
Really nice guy.
I remember, I think it was a Bear Mountain Masters race years ago.
Okay.
And it was, you remember when something was wrong with his bike and he would go nuclear like 0 to 60 in nothing flat?
I do.
Yes, I remember that. He was doing that, and then, and you were walking by, and I said, oh, yeah,
you know, he's going nuclear. And then, you know, you thought about it once or twice, and then you went over and you helped him, I think.
I did. I didn't know him very well at that time, so I wasn't really sure how that was going to go. And I was pretty sure I knew what was wrong with his bike, but again, you know. So anyways, yeah, he, one way or another, he either came over and talked to me. He just kind of had this talk with Ray Kellner, because Kellner told him to go talk to me.
Oh, okay.
And so anyway, somehow, yeah, I went over, tweaked his bike a little bit, and it worked really well, and then he won, of course. Lots of good lunch rides. He always wanted to go way faster than I had left in me after lunch.
Oh, the parking lot sprints.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember those.
Definitely remember one from Badger. We had parked in like Minkler, I think. And him just, you know, us having to stop and get a gigantic tri-tip sandwich. And then him just drilling it at like 25 miles an hour for like the whole next hour back to the car. And it was kind of out there on the, you know, east side. I don't know where anything is. I didn't know where my car was, and I was sure that at every stop sign I was blowing up, and that was it for me. Pulled me back in, I made it.
And that was just one of the many stories that I had. When I first got into bike racing in 1990, I was fortunate enough to hook up with Bob and the group. There was a lot of things that they taught me. One of the early things that I learned real quickly is that my body was not made to stop for a 1 hour big lunch in the middle of an 80+ mile ride. When we get out of lunch, then we'd get on the bikes, and then Bob would have just all this extra energy, and he would drill it for the last 20-30 miles. And many of us, especially me, would be in misery. So what I started doing after that was when they would stop for lunch, I'd go grab some water, maybe a quick snack, and be off back on the road for about, you know, after about 5 minutes. And I'd ride around and then come back and meet them as they were getting out of lunch, and that way I could survive that last 20-30 miles. I hope you enjoyed these remembrances and stories. Bob not only contributed to the cycling community, but had a positive effect on people's lives as well. Bob Brooks will be missed.